Broncos, they have 5 weeks in a row at Suncorp. There you go. And one of those games could be a full house against the Dolphins. That's one of the topics we'll talk about with the GOAT, Cameron Smith, who joins us now. If you would like to chat to Cameron, you can get on the Motorola open line on 1300 01 1170. Check out the latest smartphones from motorola.com.au, or you can text through your question or your comment on the Edgewater Homes text line 0457 736 736. Edgewater completed homes are now selling in the Catherine Park Estate. Well worth checking out if you're looking for a new home. edgewaterhomes.com.au. Where do we start? So much to talk about, Brandy, with our guest Cameron Smith on a Monday for 1 hour. 1 hour's not going to be enough, Cameron. Good morning to you.
Good morning, fellas. Another great weekend of footy. Plenty of things happening. Plenty of headlines again.
Sorry, Cameron, is that a Dolphins hat you're wearing? Is that a fins up? Are you? Have you hopped on the Dolphins bus here? You got the Dolphins hat on.
Well, Vossy, I'll tell you what. They've just captured everyone up here in Queensland. 2 wins in a row, particularly the win on the weekend against Canberra. What a stirring victory that was. And I'll tell you what. There's a head-on collision heading Suncorp Stadium way in a fortnight. The Broncos v the Dolphins. It's a Dolphins home game, actually. But if they were to win this week, both teams, they head into that round 4 clash undefeated. It'll be a top-of-the-table clash. 50,000 at Suncorp. There you go. I've called it right there.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, incredible.
Lock it in.
KO Stadium was rocking when the hammer crossed for a try in the 78th minute. It was great watching. But let's flip back to just before we talk about the expansion of the NRL, which has been a big story over the weekend. Go back to the Broncos and Reece Walsh. Have you seen a better debut? Like, I know he's a junior, and it sort of happened in a roundabout way where he joined the Warriors, then came back. But that was pretty special. And I'll highlight him and Ezra Mam. Mam was unbelievable for the Broncos too. Yeah, fantastic stuff.
And Ezra Mam was he was great in round 1 as well, Brandy, against Penrith. He seems like he's come into 2023 with more confidence, which you'd expect from a young man having played his first season last year. But yeah, those 2 guys were outstanding against the Cowboys, which many thought the Cows were going to get the points against the Broncos, even though they'd knocked off Penrith the week before. And it seemed that way early in the game, where the Cowboys, it felt like they dominated the first 40 minutes, although they went into the sheds at halftime at the same score, right? But the Broncos were able to peck them back late. But the defence of the Broncos is just, it's been outstanding in the first 2 rounds. And you highlighted those 2 players, Brandy. Reece Walsh, well, in just thinking back over the last 5 years, I can't remember a club debut like it. No. He was just everywhere, and his ability to counter attack was really impressive. Off kick returns, off any errors made by the Cowboys where they spilt the ball, he scooped it up. He just looked for opportunities, and he looked to link with Ezra Mam a couple of times, and those 2 young fellas were great.
Let's go straight on that point, Reece Walsh. And it's a great time to be in Queensland. Obviously, Cameron, you've basket. You've got a real glow about you today. Queensland must be odds on for the Origin series based on the start of the season of the Queensland club.
Come on, Vossy.
But Reece Walsh, I'm saying, I am just bringing Origin into the equation. Walsh and Ponga. We had a caller earlier say, would Reece Walsh be your Queensland fullback right at the moment? And I know we're dealing with concussion with Kalen. And his game 3 was superb. But Reece Walsh, if the development continued, could he challenge for number 1 at Queensland?
Yeah, absolutely. And we hope Kalen Ponga is going to be okay. It's obviously he's had several head knocks and several concussions in a very short space of time. So we'll have to wait and see what sort of protocols and things unfold with him. But certainly off the back of that performance the other night, I think it's got a lot of Queenslanders excited about Reece Walsh, and he was involved in the series last year. He came into the squad late in the piece, and I know Billy Slater has huge raps on Reece Walsh, and he knows that he's still got a lot of development in him as a fullback. He's still very young and raw with the things that he's doing on the field, but the speed that he possesses, it's just, you've seen the other night, it's just so hard to contain. So hard to contain. And that was one of the things that, I always knew he was, he had a lot of, pace and lightning speed, but seeing him in person on the training paddock last year, that was the thing that really I was most impressed with, was his ability to go from almost like a jogging pace, sort of stationary, and then flat out, and the movement that he can produce laterally across the field and skip across defenders. It's just, there's not many guys in our game that can do what he does. So, depending where Kalen heads to now, with the time he spends away from the game and really the form that Reece continues on, he may well have a Maroons jersey in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, he gets across three defenders so quickly, and he could have burnt, like Peter Hiku had nightmares about
he did,
Reece Walsh on Friday night.